Hey, what's going on, people? I wanted to do a demonstration of this API that I've been working on. Well, it's this tool. I call it SNAP or Simple Network Abstraction Point. And essentially, what it is, it's a REST. It's essentially a module that I build with Python. It's built using the Flask framework. But what it does, it's built with the REST API framework to extend programmable interfaces from legacy or even current devices, but mainly focused at the networking and equipment. So just this is a brief write up. This is my GitHub. Um, just showing you guys. So Snap, like I said, was created to extend programmable interfaces to legacy and modern network devices. Extends the ability to normalize data received from differing vendor platforms. This is accomplished with the use of SNMP and SSH protocols. And it's still in development. I started this maybe maybe 2 weeks ago, if that, and just working as I learn. So what it does is that it connects to multiple devices. We'll all have another piece that actually connects to the devices and pulls the information from it, and then dumps it into a MongoDB instance. And then from there, the API is available using the URL of the web server that you're running it on, or the Flash server that you're running it on, and you specify the resource and the parameter of that resource. And I'll show you how to use it here in a second. But this is really popular in the systems world, and I wanted to bring something to the networking side that allow networkers who do a lot of scripting. Me personally, I do a lot of scripting for work, and so one of the things that I have to overcome is the technique of screen scraping, which is usually grabbing some output and then parsing a string, which it is good, but it doesn't extend well. It doesn't scale well, especially when you're in multi-vendor environments. So that happens to be my case. So with another project that I'm working on, I ended up spinning off this project to help as a just an available API that people can utilize now to be able to talk to their network devices and then do whatever they want with it. So it's really cool is that it's based off of Flask. So if you know Flask and you wanted to extend your own resources, you could build your own resources on top of this. I'll show you the source code here. So this is the app. So the source code is pretty straightforward. But if you know Flask framework, you can go ahead and build out on that. But it's really extensible as far as that concerned. And I'm building in new default routes for specific types of data. Like for instance, the API routes. I have devices route that lists all the devices in JSON format, and then I have a devices count that gives the total count, and it'll give you an output of the example here, and then I'll have a resource for a device, and I pass the parameter of what I'm gonna want to see, what device I want to see. And so how that does that is it actually does a database query to the MongoDB instance, and this is what the set output would look like. If I was running this live, but which I'm going to show you guys here. But I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Um, one of the cool things that I have, some of the things that I want to add is routing table information, routing protocol information, um, specific BGP information, MPLS information. So that way, all you have to do, because it's vendor neutral as well, I have multiple vendors on here. So let me go ahead and just log into my instance here. So I have the app running in the background. And so let me go ahead and pull this up. So these are all devices that are actually sitting in my network now. These are actually currently loaded into the MongoDB database. Um, it's running on my Mac locally just for this demonstration, but I actually run it on another server when I'm doing testing. But just letting you guys know that. So these are actually the devices listed in my MongoDB that I have generated here. Actually, what I wanted to do is a full, well, the propagating doesn't matter. So these are the devices. You can see I have a Juniper router here. I have an NXOS router here. My Synology is my gateway router for my house. My Ubuntu server is my Plex server for my house. My A6i main is my new EXXI server. And then these two are my Cisco 3750 and 3560 switches and my QNAP NAS. So I just did this because I wanted to show you guys the flexibility and the fact that it's vendor neutral. So what's really cool is that the code in the backend that I use to interface with these devices, it's using the same code, and it's looping through the same set of routines. I'm not actually having to do anything conditional wise like I would have to do with like an SSH or an expect script. Because it's talking SNMP and I'm able to pull the specific MIB information straight out of the standard library of the SNMP MIBs, I was able to get all this information. So, for instance, one of the things that I did was if I do a forward slash devices, what this does is it lists all the device information. And so something that I didn't do, but anyway, it's listing all the device information. And so one of the cool things that I did is I added the config. I have another version of the server where I disrupted that. Actually, let me go ahead and change that now because I don't want that to actually show. So devices get info.config is false. Oh, you know what? Because devices, I didn't add it there. So sys info.config is false. So let's restart it. Let's go then. Good. Yeah. So I didn't want the config to show up there, but so I went ahead and pulled out the device data, all the data of all the devices that are sitting in there. So if I do a search for ESXi main, I have my switches up linked to it, but here's the entry for that particular record. So you can see it's pretty straight forward. And then some of the cool features that I added is that if I go and do a device and say that I do E6i main, I can look at my main and it'll actually whatever's in the database it'll pull back, and I think I have it to where it returns none if it doesn't have a query entry. Um, and then let's say that I want to look at my configuration for my local switch here. This data was pre-generated. The interface of actually collecting is still being worked on, but as far as the web site interfacing with the database itself, I have the structure down packed, so I was able to generate some mock data. So this is actually out of my configuration, and then I can out of my switch configuration, and I can go to switch one and do the same thing here, and then say if I want to just look at the links on this forward slash links, and then it'll show me the links, and then say that I want to, I think info is the other resource that I have here, and I can look at the info of the switch itself, and so it gives me all the switch info, and I need to change that as well. So debugging here while I'm doing a demonstration, but as you can see, it's pretty extensible. There's some other actions that I added to it as well. One of those is the ability to add devices. So what I'm going to do is I'll do a post here and I'll do a cbaxter test. I'm going to add a link to ESXi main. I need to change this IP address here to my local machine. 7.0.0.1. Right, and so should actually do a post and update the database and add that entry into it. Let's see if that works. I don't know what's happening here. Let's see if it actually. I should have got something back. I don't know. The posting I haven't tested on my Mac. I've been doing it on my main server. So see, oh, it actually worked. For some reason, Postman is hanging up on me. Oh, there it is. It finally sent it back. But so there it is. It actually imported the. It added the new interfaces. So if I look at the interface list, my new interface is listed there. And if I go back here on my database query for ESXi main, you can see the interface listed there. Yeah, it's a little hiccup. Like I said, I don't usually run this on the Mac locally. I just wanted to do this as a quick demonstration, but just to show you guys what the power of what I'm able to do so far with this thing, and it's still very early. If you do any web development and would like to give a hand out in doing some Ginger templates for me, I need some help with that. That would be a huge win, just so I can beautify the main index page in the operator page that's gonna be built in that I want built into this tool. But yeah, if you get help with that, that'll be awesome. Link me in LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube or whatever. Just yeah, let me know if you can help me out. All right, thanks. That was Snap. Talk to you guys later.